kill me. No, seriously, just fucking kill me, because this film is unbelievably painful. I don't think I've seen a dumber, more vacuous piece of cinematic vomit in all my life. It's just fucking insulting. Unfortunately, I seem to be living on a planet full of butt-breathing inbred lunatics with the same brain capacity as a jar of pickles, because believe it or not, this film is actually quite popular. In fact, it has a rating on Rotten Tomatoes of 62%. 62%!
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Honestly, I don't know if it's just me or the rest of the world, but somebody has gone completely fucking insane. There's just no way in hell that this many people could find this turd at all enjoyable. But hey, that's just my opinion, isn't it? I'm probably just being a bit too harsh and nitpicky, right? Hell no, but let's just take a look at this fucker anyway. This is the abomination known as Frozen. So the film starts with our three protagonists, Joe, Dan, and Dan's girlfriend Parker, bribing a chairlift operator for permission to use the lift. Why? Because they're a bunch of assholes who can apparently afford to take a probably somewhat expensive trip up to a ski resort in the mountains, but who won't pay full price for chairlift tickets.
Look at all these chumps paying top dollar for their lift tickets. Not us, though.
Yeah, I already hate them too. If for some reason you don't yet, their conversation as to heading up the mountain will probably solve that problem.
You know what? I'm so sick of potheads giving me shit about smoking butts.
At least pot does something for you.
Oh.
Yeah, cigarettes are just gross, especially in the cold. They just stick to you. You smell like an ashtray, an old man's used floss.
Old man's... Where the hell do you come up with this stuff?
Okay, have you ever smelled your floss?
No, I have never smelled my own floss.
Well, it's nasty.
Never, not once.
It is nasty.
Well, that added a lot. No, seriously, none of the dialogue in this fuckfest seems to actually add to anything. It's just fairly pointless filler that's probably intended to make us identify and connect with the characters, but ironically, it only ends up making us care even less about them. I mean, why exactly should I give a crap about any of these guys? Because they act like douchebags and happen to like skiing and snowboarding? Yeah, that's enough to keep me invested. In any case, after making their way back down the mountain and having a bit of a pizza and coffee break, they decide to try for one more run before the resort closes down for the night. Unfortunately, the chairlift is already closed as there's apparently a storm coming in and the operator refuses to let them on.
Okay. What if we run straight down like the quickest run ever?
We'll be like wicked fast. We give you $100. Come on.
Please.
Hurry.
Oh, so all they had to do was promise to go really fast, huh? Yeah, I think I can pretty much promise that you're fucking fired! Either way, they start riding the chairlift, and while they're heading up, the operator gets called away as some other guy takes over for him. He tells the new guy that there are 3 people left on the slope and to stop the lift when they're down. Unfortunately, this doofus apparently can't even fucking count, as 3 more people are then seen heading down the slope. That's 6 people left to wait for, you fucking retard! This of course means that when the new operator sees those 3 other guys come down the slope, he shuts the chairlift down and leaves our protagonist stuck in their chair. Because that's exactly how this sort of place would operate. They wouldn't make sure no one was left on the slope or in the chairs by sending up a patrol or collecting the chairs for the night or something, right? No, that'd just be silly. And yes, that is what the big, terrifying situation of this film is supposed to be. 3 people stuck in a fucking chairlift. Aren't you scared? Aren't you just pissing yourself with fear? No? Well then, congratulations, you have a brain! I mean, even if this were to happen, which I think is extremely unlikely, couldn't you just call someone for help? I mean, don't most people have their phones with them at all times these days anyway?
I don't skew the phone.
No, of course you don't. Well, even if you didn't have a phone, wouldn't you just be stuck there for one night at the most? Okay, so you'd be cold, but you could probably survive one night, right?
It's fucking Sunday, and they're not open again till Friday. We're gonna be stuck here all week.
What? You're not serious, right? You really expect me to believe that a seemingly very popular ski resort would close down for an entire week in the middle of the fucking busy season? Okay, so I'm not exactly an expert on how ski resorts tend to operate, but I just don't think this is considered common practice. Hell, even the film itself realizes how fucking stupid this scenario is.
Then why are the lights off, Dan? Is that part of the policy? Turn on the lights and scare the customers?
I don't know. Maybe it's a power outage or something, okay? That stuff happens all the time. They didn't go home. That's retarded.
Yeah, no shit it's retarded, and yet you're still going with it! A brain? What's that? So anyway, the three stooges here are now stuck in the chairlift, and since it's freezing cold and there's apparently no help coming for an entire week, they're running out of options. As such, Dan decides the best course of action is to jump off the chairlift and hope for the best. Great idea, especially since you waited, what, a whole 2 hours before you did this? Seriously, this is really the first idea you have? You really couldn't think of anything else that might be worth trying first? Even I can think of at least 3 or 4 other options that I'm pretty sure you would be way better off trying first. But no, jumping off the chair and breaking your legs is the obvious choice. Either way, that is of course exactly what happens. He breaks his legs. Quite badly. In fact, a fair amount of his bones actually stick out of his legs. Damn, that shit must hurt.
Hey, Dan, buddy! Dan, can you move at all?
No, man, it's bad!
No, you can't slide down the hill or anything?
No, I can't slide down the hill. I'm bleeding to death, man.
Okay.
Or maybe it's just a mild nuisance. Oh, okay, so he does actually scream in pain. For like a few seconds, but after that, they all treat this horrific injury like a fucking sunburn or something. I mean, I doubt if this guy would actually be able to stay conscious after something like this, let alone talk even remotely coherently. Also, what the fuck is wrong with his supposed friends up there? Firstly, they don't really do anything to deter him from jumping off the chair in the first place, and secondly, they act as if his injury after doing so is of little to no consequence. Fucking dickwipes! As bad as all this is, Joe then says he might be able to make his way onto the cable and climb his way to a chair that's closer to the ground. Yeah, that's a pretty good idea, but how about you try something like that before one of you jumps to your fucking doom? How dumb are you guys? Oh, and before you suggest that Dan just didn't think of this or something, which is a pretty weak excuse anyway, as it's not exactly up there on his own, it seems he already knew quite a bit about this possibility.
Okay, even if I get to that chair, how many more chairs is it gonna take before I get to one that's closer to the ground?
The poles, they all have ladders on them, okay? The lift poles. You just have to find your way to one of those.
Dumbass! If you knew about this, why the fuck didn't you try that before turning your legs into mush? Okay, so this would still be somewhat risky. I mean, you could lose your grip and fall to the ground anyway, but at least you would have tried. At least there's a much, much bigger chance that you'll actually make it to the ground in one piece. What do these guys have for brains? Cheese? No, that probably didn't make any sense, but neither do any of these stupid fucking decisions. In any case, before Joe has a chance to give this plan a try, it seems this trio isn't quite as alone as they first thought.
Don't you let her
Yeah, that seems about right. Seriously, wolves? Fucking wolves? What sort of things were they smoking when they came up with that? Oh, I could believe that there might be wolves in that sort of area, but that these guys would come anywhere near any of them, let alone be attacked by them, is about as plausible as a bunch of flying reindeer coming to their rescue. Fair enough, I'm no expert, but just a few seconds of research will teach you that wolves are pretty shy by nature, and will usually stay away from humans as much as possible. Yeah, wolf attacks on humans do happen, but they're extremely rare, and I'm pretty fucking certain they never ever happen in the middle of a fucking ski slope, you waste of life! So after losing Dan, Joe and Parker start endearing themselves to us even more by basically blaming each other for his death. Delightful!
Why'd you let him jump?
You didn't try and stop him.
You should have.
What? It should have been me down there, right? Because who gives a fuck about me?
Wow. Didn't that just make you love these guys so much more? No? Well, no fucking shit! I mean, that shit was just so unbelievably mean-spirited. Hell, they're each basically saying that the other is responsible for Dan's death, with Parker even going so far as to suggest that it would have been better if Joe had been the one to jump. Okay, so I get that they're just grieving and lashing out and all, and I do think both of them should have done much more to stop Dan, but still, they just go way too far here. Either way, they of course end up apologizing to each other, and eventually they fall asleep. The next day, Parker awakes to discover that she's a complete and utter moron. You know what? These idiots deserve to die. If they're actually dumb enough to place their bare fucking hand on a freezing cold steel bar for an entire fucking night, then we don't need them. This is just natural fucking selection. Oh, so now you decide to cover up your hand. Fucking brain-dead bimbo. So after waiting a few more hours just to make sure no one is coming for them, Joe decides to try his luck at shimmying across the cable to the nearest lift pole. However, upon climbing up to the cable, he also inadvertently causes the bolt holding the chairlift in place to come loose. Yeah, because those wouldn't be secure at all, would they? In any case, he manages to get himself over to the pole and down on the ground, but unfortunately, the wolves are back. Guess that little snack they had before wasn't quite enough, huh? Joe manages to keep them away by attacking them with his ski pole, however, and he sets off down the mountain using Dan's snowboard as a sled. Unfortunately, the wolves follow him in hot pursuit, leaving Parker dangling in the loosened chairlift on her own. After waiting the entire day and night and still seeing no sign of Joe, Parker finally decides to take her chances and try and jump off the chair. Unfortunately, the chair comes loose and starts falling as she starts lowering herself out of it, and even though this allows her to drop to the ground without breaking her legs, the chair then falls on top of her, injuring her leg anyway. Parker does manage to free her leg from underneath the chair fairly easily, however, and she starts to make her way down the slope by crawling and sliding on her belly. On her way down, she also finds out what happened to Joe. Wait a minute. If the wolves attacked both Dan and Joe, then why the fuck would they just leave Parker alone? What, are they afraid they're gonna get cooties or something? Either way, Parker makes her way down to a nearby road where she's eventually picked up by a passing driver. Thus, the film ends with Parker passing out in a car while hearing Dan's voice.
You're gonna be okay, baby. You're gonna be okay.
So that's Frozen. Pretty fucking bad, isn't it? I mean, what the hell is this? How did this ever see the light of day, not to mention gain a fairly substantial fan base? Has everyone just lost their pea-brained minds? Okay, so maybe I can understand if you just enjoy it sort of ironically, basically finding it so dumb that it's funny, but I don't really think it works in that way either. Oh, don't get me wrong, it is utterly ridiculous, but it's just so insultingly awful that I don't see how you could find it funny. Honestly, if you still can't see why this film is completely fucking retarded, you need to seek professional help immediately. The characters are stupid, the premise is stupid, this entire fucking thing is just unbelievably stupid. If you're thinking of giving this film a look, don't. There's absolutely no redeeming features here, and you will truly end up dumber for having experienced it. I know I am. I mean, why else would I suddenly want to play this? Wow, that was one spectacular video you just saw, wasn't it? Well, guess what? Now you can help make future episodes even better. I know, doesn't seem possible, right? Well, it's true. Simply click on the link to my Patreon page, select the amount you want to donate, and click Become a Patron. By doing this, you will not only allow me to increase my liquor budget, make the show better, but you'll also be able to collect several wonderful rewards, such as access to exclusive videos, your name in the credits, your choice of topic for a video, magical powers, immortality, and much, much more. Well, what are you waiting for? Follow the link, make your donation, and become a patron today.